What's up, guys? I'm Uncle Freedom, coming to you on a glorious and well-deserved day off. Getting ready to load up the kids. We're heading to Omaha, going to a wedding this weekend. It's going to be fantastic. Maybe I'll run into some of you fine folks that live in the Omaha area. Who knows, right? So if you notice, I don't do many costume changes in this one because I'm having to film a bunch of videos at one time that I had already written because I want to get that info out to you guys. So first things first, do the YouTube thing, right? Like, subscribe, share. That's how we keep building this community and share this content with more people. Patreon is also where a lot of the stuff drops that I can't show here, where I'm actually working on and fixing firearms. There was a big thing on my Glock Koa build that I did over there recently. You can also reach out to me on Discord, other places there. You guys know where to find me. My website is violentalgebra.com. You can email me from there. It has links to everything you need to know. And I don't sell anything there. I sell absolutely nothing at any point. I have no financial vested interest in what people buy. I provide educational content. First thing, though, we got a shout out to the biggest supporter of what I do here, and that is my friends at outlastsupply.com. Amazing people, true hardcore supporters of the Second Amendment, supporters of your boy over here, allowing me to keep doing what I do and bring better content to you than I did the week before. There are also amazing people that have everything from survival and preparedness, food, water filters, you name it, over there to, I don't know, if you were to search for personal defense, I bet you'd find some cool stuff and you go through that speakeasy. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, today we're going to talk about buy once, cry once, right? This is a ubiquitous statement in the firearms world, and it's kind of funny. And it truly is, because no matter how many times we know better, we still don't do it. I am no exception to this rule. It is legit one of the most common sayings that we have in the firearms world. Everyone has said it at least once or twice in their life, and yet we constantly fail at it all the time. So why? Let's take a look at why. So we do this everywhere, right? Whether that is in MOLLE pouches for our gear itself, to chest rigs, to plates, to plate carriers, to slings, to rifle and handgun accoutrement. You name it, we mess this up, and we mess it up in pretty much every category known to man. We even mess this up in the firearms themselves and ammo, which that part is wild to me. So why do we do it, though? Honestly, it's because we all want to save some money. The economy's rough, man. And here's the thing. If I have an option that's like 100 bones and one that's 50 bones, and I feel like the 50 bone version will do what the 100 bone version does, I'm going to buy the 50 bone version, which is how we get ourselves into this mess. We all want to think that we know better, we're getting a better deal, and we want to believe somewhere in our heart of hearts that it is just, in fact, a label or a roll mark, and that everyone else is just wasting their money and that we got a better deal than they did. That's why we do it, in a short. But in reality, we're lying to ourselves. I lie to myself about this all the time. I'm sure you do as well. It is just kind of what we do, man. We lie to ourselves in an effort to validate like a bad decision that we made or a questionable decision that we made, and then we double down on that because we're pretty bad about this in the gun world of attaching our self-worth to a thing. You see this a lot in the mid-tier groups, right? The flex groups. I'm in a bunch of them. I'm there all the time. But you see a lot of guys that they're rarer now, and most of the really good dudes in those groups are not this way. They attach their self-worth to a particular item or a plate carrier or plates or whatever. It's really prevalent in the watch community as well. You have guys that look down on people that don't wear Rolex. You have guys that wear AP that look down on people that do wear Rolex, right? It is a thing that exists no matter where we look at it. And for those of you that have asked, the watch of today is my Squally 1545 30 Atmos Tropic GMT. I adore this freaking watch. It's awesome, right? So you see that in there, right? And then the problem is when you get called out for it or somebody tells you it was a bad decision, you have to try to validate it because you don't want to face the fact that you just wasted thousands of dollars on something. And like I said, we attach our self-worth to inanimate objects, which is in reality, it's stupid. Call it what it is, man. It's dumb. It's stupid. We should probably stop doing that. But the biggest issue with this internal battle that we seem to find ourselves in all the time is that we end up blowing more money than if we had just bought the freaking thing that we wanted to buy to begin with, instead of trying to do it cheap. And I don't know why I do this. I do this like once a month, man. Like I'm like, damn it, I should have just bought that. All right, and then I end up having to buy it any freaking way. there are times and places where you can save money, and you should, right? There are times, right? Like mag pouches, like your standard like milsurp mag pouches, right? There's really no reason to have some of the other stuff, right? If you start paying for features, research and development, and materials, that's a different ball game. But if you're just hunting for mag pouches to mount mags on the outside of your bag, you can save money there because they're not going to be tested with your life. But most of the time, overwhelmingly most of the time, you'd be far better served if you just saved for another 2 weeks and got the thing you wanted. And I figured the best way to describe this is to show you a couple of places where I did this exact thing. And not only did it cost me more, sometimes it doubled the cost of what I was trying to do. So in the beginning of your journey, as you budding gun people are joining in on this community and you're starting to learn more about what you need and how to do things, and you want to have it all, right? And it's really hard to view this as the marathon it is instead of the sprint that we believe we're in. Trial and error is just a part of this. It doesn't get covered a lot. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do that. I am trying to help you look at it from the outside where you can just be like, yeah, nope, that was dumb. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just got the thing that I wanted to get to begin with. And yeah, at the end of this, you're going to end up with boxes full of gear and equipment that doesn't fit your needs. And here's the thing though, that's okay. And as it turns out, an integral part of what we do here, because now you have more experience on more equipment. So if we look at some of the places that I royally messed this up, we're going to do Uncle Freedom Storytime. So gather around, class, pull up a chair as I tell you about a very expensive bad decision that I made trying to save a little money. My Night Force attacker. I wanted that optic a lot. And I knew deep down inside that it is exactly what I needed was that optic. Now I should clarify, this is a 1-to-8 attacker. But instead of saving up my money and going after the attacker itself, which I should have done, I got impatient. I wanted it now. And then I played the game of, I'll get this right now to hold me over until I get that. Because again, I'm impatient, and human beings are impatient and impulsive at the same time, which gets really freaking expensive depending on what your hobbies are. Like if your hobby starts with the word Jeep, watch, or firearm, it is an expensive place to mess this up in. So I really wanted that, right? I got impatient and I bought a Burris, like 1-to-4, I think it was, because I was like, yeah, this will work for now, right? Because I didn't need it for range, like just getting used to it. But it didn't really give me good results. In fact, it was pretty terrible, and it lost its ability to track in short order. So then I bought an SLX from Primary Arms. And I was happy with it for like a week, man. They're pretty cool. I still have a couple of SLXs, like 1-to-6, 1-to-8s, man. They're awesome. But I even got to the point I was arguing myself that what could I really do with this other optic that I could not accomplish with this one? And so what I ended up doing was delaying the inevitable and lying to myself and then being unhappy with the results that I was getting. Now, is there anything wrong with an SLX scope? No, provided you buy it because that's what you actually need it to do. But if you're in the world where you're like, man, I need the attacker, the SLX is probably not the one you need. And I'm over there arguing myself that I'm winning over here because I spent like $1,800 less even to this point. And I got what'll work, right? Well, here's the problems. I found the limitations of the SLX. And then I went for another optic, but this time it was Athlon. They were relatively new to the scope at the time. And I was like, man, these look cool. They got great specs. So I bought an Athlon. And while it was better and produced better quality than the SLX did, it still wasn't as good, man. At this point, I am $1,300 in mounts and optics that don't work for what I wanted to do. So I ended up selling the Burris, I ended up selling the Athlon itself, and then I ended up finally dropping like an additional $1,900, and I got my 1-to-8 attacker. But because I blew my wad on the attacker, I went cheap on the freaking mount. You can guess how this goes. It failed. It failed. It came loose. Things didn't hold zero. And here I have this beautiful freaking optic on like a Bobo amount, and it just didn't work out right. You would have thought I would have learned my lesson from the ATACR fiasco, and I would have just spent the money on the Badger Ordnance one that I actually freaking needed for what I did. But you would be wrong. So I ended up blowing another $300 or $400 total in between the other stuff. And then finally still buying the freaking Badger. If I had just done this right, which is to wait a little longer, buy exactly what I want, and don't waste my money, and stop lying to myself and arguing with myself that it's just holding me over or that it's just paying for a name, I would have spent about $2,400 to get what I wanted to do and had exactly what I wanted with all of the capabilities that I needed and been in a bomb-proof, last forever situation. But instead, and I also would have gotten better reps on the eventual equipment that I had, which means better training, better familiarity with the whole system, including the reticulates and the ATACR. But what I ended up doing was spending somewhere on the nature of $3,900 to $4,000 on this entire freaking fiasco. And I only ended up getting $400 out of the 2 optics that I sold at the end of this thing. I dumped over $1,000 more than I needed to end up in the place that, had I just done it to begin with and bought once and cried once, I would have had exactly what I wanted, and I wouldn't have played this weird game that I played. But again, we do this as gun people. I just knew better, man. Like, God. Part of growing older, guys, is being introspective and being able to laugh at the stupid stuff that we did, right? This is one of those times. You're more than welcome to laugh at me. It's totally fine. So then I did the same thing with plates and plate carriers. You would have, again, thought I would have figured that out, right? I own a Spartan armor carrier and steel plates. Tell me how bad of an idea that is, and I would never advocate for anybody doing anything that looks remotely like that ever again. Steel plates are for targets. That's what they are. They are not viable armor unless the thing you are armoring is a freaking vehicle. I wanted the Faro Concepts FCPC V5. I liked that carrier. I liked the way it was made. I really wanted it. And I was a fan of the nicer high-com plates. So I kind of had a place I wanted to be. But what did I just tell you I did? I bought dumb things like a Spartan armor set with steel plates with the build-up coat. I did that. I bought cheap LA police gear plates. I bought cheap plates from over here. I bought like Milsurp plates. Whatever, man. I went through like 5 different freaking carriers. And not all the carriers are bad, mind you. I have like a Cry JPC 1.0. I've got Slicksters. I even have a Velocity System Scarab LT, which I adore that carrier. That carrier is fantastic, and I will never get rid of it because it is awesome. It just serves a different role. But what I ended up doing was dumping over $2,000 more than I needed to. If I would have just got what I knew I wanted in the beginning. So how do we fix this? The first course of action to fix this in your own life is to be honest, man. Be honest about what it is you're trying to do, why you want to do it, and then establish what you need, right? So if you're never going to shoot beyond 100 yards, you're never going to convince me you need an ATACR 1-8, right? If you live alone on a homestead, there's probably not a reason for you to have lightweight, UHW MPs, right? Super lightweight level 3 armor with like $1,000 Gucci carrier. There's probably not a legitimate need for that. But in my world, right, I run into bad places that with people that don't want to come out of them, and I don't get to leave. Once I'm there, I have to actually finish what I'm doing. So I cannot evade at that point. I have to go deal with it. So establish your need, figure out what you need, right? And then select your stuff that you actually want based upon that need. Now that you have your need, the next thing I want you to do is to research your options. You have people like me all over the internet telling you real facts about how things work. So research your options, figure out, you will find as you're going through things, you may see a video and be like, damn, that would not work for me at all. And I can tell you there is more than one plate carrier, First Spear Strandhog being one of them, that I am glad I avoided because of something about the way that thing was made that it would have never worked for me. And because I did research, it was never on my radar more than the initial like, hey, it would be cool. So establish your need, do your research, do thorough vetted research. See if you can find somebody within your community of shooters, online, whatever, Find somebody that owns the equipment that you would like to check. I do this a lot at the open range. I will have cases of handguns with red dots on them, and I will willingly hand them out to guys to test out and shoot on the range. I do this with my rifles. I've let guys borrow plate carriers, chest rigs, pouches, you name it. Because what I want them to do is I want them to actually put it in their hands and see how it's going to work. So at this point, we now know it works not only in theory, but in real life. After that, while you're doing those first three things, you should just be saving money. That means stop going to Starbucks, though I'm not really sure about, or Scooters or whatever you got where you're at. Stop going out to eat as much. Don't blow money on impulsive crap that you found in the deal of the day on Palmetto State Armory, right? Like, save your money towards your end goal. And as you eliminate things that you needed by doing good research and trying to get hands-on with them, by the time you've made a formalized decision that this is what I need, you've saved the money to keep it from feeling like it took forever to get. And then make an informed purchase. You're buying exactly what you wanted to do this thing that you know it will accomplish through your well-done research and talking to other people, man. Dude, the gun community is at both times the insanely most helpful group of people and like the crappiest group of people, right? There are guys out there that when you ask them a question about something, they will dog on you. You're like, I want to know about the Cry JPC, right? And they're like, oh no, man, what you need is an AVS. Minimum AVS. I don't know why you would ever even look at that cheap JPC crap. And instead of giving you good information, they're just going to dog on you because you're looking at a less expensive option, right? But outside of those small ones, which tend to be the loudest, is a whole bunch of people like me that will literally talk to you back and forth over the course of days to help you get the information you need so that you can make a better decision, because then I'm going to have a more viable, effective partner in this stuff, especially the guys that live in your local area, man. The thing I want you to remember is there are no guarantees in this world. Even with just the resources that are dedicated now to research, it may just not work for you. And that's okay. Never run gear that doesn't work for you because you spent money on it. Don't attach worth to the fact that you spent money on it. Because even if it doesn't work for you and you end up selling that thing off, you gained knowledge and experience from you going through this process, right? You can now articulate, it was cool it did this and this, but I didn't like these two things, which means that your next decision you make is going to be much better informed. If you hate it, get rid of it, man. It's no reason to keep it just because you spent money on it. And good news, though, because you did well-informed research and you bought something that wasn't bottom of the barrel tier for you to mess around with, unless you bought a 320. Ask me how I know. You can actually get most of your money back out of it, providing you didn't just trash it. So the short answer is we do this everywhere, man. Guns, optics, backpacks, pouches, ammunition, tripods for rifles. The amounts of countless six-figure amounts that have been dumped into things like a tripod that you thought would work because it's just as good is how we get here. So do some good research, develop a good set of needs that you actually need that gear to fulfill. Talk to people about what it is you're considering, and then save your money and make a well-informed, good purchase, allowing you to buy once, cry once. But if it's really not what you need, you did it right so that you can get the maximum amount back out of it to sink into the thing that you now know you definitely need. So guys, this has been buy once, cry once. A skill that we all suck at, like so much. It's almost comical how bad we are at it. Probably not as bad as the Jeep community, just saying. So guys, I'm Freedom. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. Till next time, I'll see you later.